for their fondness of blue hedgehogs, Italian plumbers, and night elves. There is a place where those that are persecuted can find solace and walls, where like-minded geeks can join forces and together grow stronger, as together they can wield unimaginary power, invade enemy lines, and loot bosses. Together, they are Epic Geeks.
Welcome to the Epic Geeks Podcast, episode number 15. Today is Saturday. Saturday? What are we doing on a Saturday? The 12th of June, 2014. I am Draycass, your host, and with me is the lovely James. Hello, James. It's nearly gone.
Hello.
Those of you listening on the podcast, James has got an Irish whiskey in his hand, which is, well, we've only got about a mouthful left. It's already gone. So yeah, it's just the two of us today, James. Just us two.
It's just we're all alone. No one's here beside us.
It's all my fault. If I look or sound really tired, I apologise. I've had an exam this very morning, which is why we didn't do the podcast yesterday. Because I was like, there's no way. I need to revise. I'm not going to be able to do the podcast.
Revision.
So if I look really
Parents
tired,
would be very disappointed.
If I look really tired on the video, that's why. I haven't had a lot of sleep the last few weeks and I just feel like rubbish. So I might not know anything about any of the topics either we're talking about today. But we're just going to wing it. We'll see what happens.
We always do.
I haven't been anywhere on the gaming scene at all. I just had my head in books. So, yeah.
What are books? What are these things you speak of?
I don't know. Look at them. I just discovered them this week. I was like, I have been revising for them.
What? People read?
They do. But anyway, we'll get on to that. Today we are going to have the lovely Vel and Morgan as well from the Boardgames and Beer Podcast joining us a bit later on for a little interview. That's why we haven't got another co-host with us, because Tom couldn't make it today, and we thought, well, we've got these guys coming on anyway. We'll just do it with me and James, and then we can bring them two in later and talk about board games and beer.
And whiskey.
And the whiskey. Well, they do include liqueurs and spirits as well, they told me. So
They're my best friend.
they are. They're quite cool. So we'll have them on later to discuss. We'll talk about video games as well. We'll kind of merge the two together. It'll be quite interesting. But other than that, there's not a lot of news, is there?
This has been terrible. This has been a black hole week of, well, let's not announce anything or do.
I think it's because everybody's a bit announced out, and it's now the summer, so everyone's on their summer holidays, so not a lot really happens, do they? In the July, August kind of area time. So, but we have got things to talk about. We have got things. Things are happening, just not many things, and not a lot of interest. There's one big interesting thing, but not many interesting things. But other than me revising and not having time to play a lot of video games, what have you been doing, James? Have you been playing anything interesting?
Oh. I'm trying to think, because it's been a bit of a slow week. A fast week, but slow. One of those where it's like, it feels like it's lasted forever, but it's gone stupidly fast, and it's like we're coming to the end of time. Yeah, well, I've actually been working my way through my Steam list again. I think I'm into the G's. I think last week, because I wasn't on the last podcast, so for the past 2 weeks I've been playing Fez. Fez is amazing. Phil Fish, not so much, but Fez is some.
That's why he's disappeared.
Yes, he's vanished from existence. But I was sort of finishing that because I'm a bit of a completionist, and I got all the cubes, and it's, oh my god, this ending's amazing. And then I jumped onto Guacamelee. Came in a humble bundle. I think it's coming out on PS4 soon, but it's amazing. It's so it takes sort of hints of your old school fighter games, you know, going to Streets of Rage, the side-scrolling beat 'em up, dead things. But it's all based on Mexico. You're an American
something.
Yes, exactly
like,
that.
Chuck them and like at each other, or
well, you don't chuck some. You don't
you
chuck
could.
some.
That could be an amazing
But
weapon. What are you talking about?
it's basically it's a war between, well, not a war, but a little battle goes on between the land of the dead and the land of the living. And this guy, I can't remember his name. He comes up and he's like, oh my god, I'm going to steal your girlfriend, and she's going to be my wife, and ha ha ha.
Super
And it's
Mario.
your little.
They're stealing the story from Super Mario.
It does take hints from Super Mario in terms of it does do. Hey, your princess is in another castle. And it also takes. Oh my god, it just merges so many things. So Castle Crashers, there's little posters for Lake Castle Crashers, sombreros in the background. There's like memes all over the place. There's Metroid, Super Metroid. There's little statues. They call them in the game of Metroid. It's the Chozo race, and they basically just added an extra O onto it to make it sound Mexican. And so you break these statues, and then they give you power-ups. It's awesome. I highly recommend it. I think, don't quote me, I think because it mentions Castle Crashers, it's done by the guys that did Castle Crashers. But it's so much fun. It's just so simple. Guacamole. Also,
like
almost
guacamole,
like
but
guacamole. That's the Mexican. But it came out in a Humble Bundle. Well, it's out there anyway, but it was in Humble Bundle. I picked it up on the Humble Bundle. It's coming out on PS4, I believe, in the next couple of months. It's just fun. I love little indie games like this. You guys rock. Yes.
So you're slowly working your way through.
How
many have you got left now then? Because you had about 400.
Right. Well, if I go through my... I'm just loading the Steam up. Let's have a nosy. So I've got 189 games with 200 DLC. As it should. Well, before I started this, I'd only played 40 of the 180 because, I just pick up Humble Bundles and there's lots of games and they're all... and I just stare at them going, I don't feel like playing you today. But because I've actually got time in my lunch hour at work, I just load up Steam, play a game for a couple of hours during the week, not all at once. That would be terrible. I've just finished Eat Munchies, which it should be an iPhone game. It's terrible, but it should be an iPhone game. English Country Tune, Puzzler, that was awesome. Fairs we've got through, FTL, Faster Than Light, if people don't know it, which is an amazing little pixel space sim battle kind of thing. Gratuitous Space Battles, which was an awesome game. And so yeah, basically I think I'm about a quarter of the way through my Steam list now. We're getting there. We're getting there.
You should have a celebration when you get to 50, or 50%.
Yes.
We'll get to 100%, so keep buying more, but ASA.
Well, I did do that in the last summer sale. This summer sale I resisted. I only bought Goat Simulator.
Well, hold on. You didn't buy Rome Total War, or have you already got it?
I didn't. I've still not played it. I'm disappointed, sorry. I'll get back to my whiskey coffee.
That was a big thing, I thought, in the sale. Rome Total War. Anyway.
I don't know. Going on sort of now, obviously there's a new Humble Bundle out, which is the 2K bundle. Mm-hmm. And that's all the Bioshock games for $20. It's Mafia 2, it's The Darkness 2, and there's more to be announced. I'm buying it, even though I've got them on Xbox, I'm still buying it.
Those Humble Bundles are amazing. And for people who have never heard of Humble Bundle and don't know what it is, then go and find out. It's on Steam. It's their little sale pitch.
No, you just said that terribly wrong. You just misinformed the world. Go to humblebundle.com.
Go to humblebundle.com. I don't know. I was just like, Google it. Just Google it. Google Humble Bundle. You'll find it. I just get emails. I just get things emailed to me. That's all I know. I get free like
You're
games.
just gonna get things.
Spend this
You're gonna
much
get
money,
people
get
to email you.
games.
Oh, exactly.
Moving
on.
You introduced me to Humble Bundle. Anyway, moving on from Humble Bundle. We're not just going to promote these things. You might notice, we might not notice actually, because we're not there. But we're not on Twitch. We're not streaming live on Twitch today. No.
No, because it's broken.
we got suspended from Twitch. And we don't know why.
Locked.
We haven't done anything wrong either. I feel really bad. Like, we're really good
It's a true
people.
fact.
We're really good people. And we've done nothing wrong. And they
So let's go with the story.
Yes.
You guys were doing the Geeks Nexus podcast, which is on your podcast.
Yes. In fact, I was going to say that before we brought up Twitch, but actually we'll do it a bit backwards. We had 2 new podcasts come out. We had Geeks of Azeroth. For those of you that don't know, is our World of Warcraft podcast, which you can find out about on our website or on YouTube. You could have found
But
out
not
about
Twitch.
But not anymore. So those guys went out and did their podcast, and then a week later, myself, Raddy, and Sparky went and did the Geeks of Nexus podcast, which is our new Wild Style podcast, which went really well. We had lots of people compared to what we normally have in the chat room, and they're all chatting away and loving it. And we uploaded it to YouTube, and people are loving them on YouTube, and we're getting lots of like Twitter response and stuff. And I was getting really excited and positive and thinking, yeah, this is really good, this is amazing. And then we got an email from Twitch saying, we've suspended your account.
Your account has been suspended.
So what?
It's like Twitch just drops the troll face on us. It's like, you're getting fans and stuff, but we're taking them away.
Stop. I was really gutted. I'm really sad. So I've just kind of put in a petition kind of going, Twitch, why are you doing this to us?
Why you do this to us?
Please let us have our account back, or explain why we've been. It just sent kind of like, you must have breached the terms of service. I've looked through the terms of service. I'm like, I'm sure we didn't do any of those things.
We didn't do these things.
We didn't. We never swear. In fact, well, mind you, it's you. Maybe it's you. You swore in the last podcast.
I swore once, but that was 4 weeks ago.
Must have been what it was. You dropped the F-bomb 4 weeks ago. Well, anyway, it's Twitch's loss. It's Twitch's loss.
So we're not on Twitch, but we're trying to fix it.
We're trying to fix it, and this will be up on YouTube anyway. And the podcast listeners don't care because they never saw. Ow, my elbow just clicked. Random. I think that's it, isn't it, for the intro?
I think so.
I think it is. We'll go into the next segment.
It's time for gaming news with Epic Geeks.
So we do have one big bit of gaming news to talk about. Activision and Bungie open the Destiny universe with beta beginning on July the 17th, which is only a few days away. Woo! For those of you that don't know what Destiny is yet, firstly, where have you been?
What rock are you hiding under?
What rock are you hiding under? Indeed. I'll do a little bit of a background, as explained by Bungie. Players are cast. This is where we need Sparky to do this with his amazing, voiceover
His
voice.
amazing manly voice.
Yes, but I'll try my best with my me. Players are cast as guardians of the last city on Earth. The last city on Earth, people. Who will explore the ancient ruins of our solar system, from the red dunes of Mars to the lush jungles of Venus. Able to wield incredible power, gamers must battle humanity's enemies and reclaim all that was lost during the collapse of mankind's golden age. In a story-driven universe, Destiny unfolds through grand tales and epic adventures by immersing players in a bold new universe filled with cooperative, competitive, public and social activities, all seamlessly connected. That was a lot of words in one go.
Yeah.
Cooperative, competitive, public and social activities.
We're not good words.
All seamlessly connected.
It's our terrible point.
Yeah. So the official beta dates for PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, Xbox One, Xbox 360 were announced, with the Destiny Ghost and limited collector's editions also revealed. So fans who have pre-ordered Destiny, pre-ordered Destiny,
Pre-ordered.
in a participating retailer are guaranteed access into the beta, which will commence as follows. This is like a public order announcement. And what I'm going to do, for those of you watching on YouTube, not on Twitch, I'm also going to show the trailer. Do I keep adding random letters
Words
into my
today.
words today? Yeah. I'm going to play the beta trailer in the background. And I was going to talk over and explain everything about the beta. Here we go. So the beta begins for the PlayStation 4 first of all, and the PlayStation 3 at 10 a.m. PDT on July the 17th. The beta begins for Xbox One and Xbox 360 a couple of days later at 10 a.m. on July the 23rd. The beta will be offline for scheduled maintenance on the July 21st 22nd, and open back up to the pre-order participants across all platforms on July the 27th. So, Bungie said, as we prepare to launch our first beta on multiple console platforms around the world, we are excited and eager to open the floodgates, said Harold Ryan, Bungie's president. We already love to play Destiny, and with your help, that's your help, we can be ready for our launch in September.
I'm ready. My body is ready.
It's just actually quite a big announcement. I'm going to try and read through all of it, because all of it's quite relevant. Activision and Bungie also revealed today...
These guardians show us what we are and what we will be again.
Actually, I have to say, just before I carry on, those of you that watched the new trailer, the beta trailer, the voiceovers are appalling. Like, really bad. They need to get in touch with Sparky, because that's the worst voiceover voice I've ever heard. It's almost like they kind of went, we can't afford to pay the normal dude that does it. Who can we get? I know, the janitor's got quite a clear voice. What do we get him in to do? I apologise for the guy who did
Guardians are fighting on Earth.
He just speaks words that are bad.
Push back.
It just doesn't sound great. Anyway, that's enough of that. Activision and Bungie also revealed today 3 epic collector's editions. Epic versions of the game. The Destiny Ghosts Edition, the Destiny Limited Edition, both include the following: Limited Edition Steelbook case and game disc, Garden Folio. You know, I'm not actually going to go through that. You get lots of stuff. Destiny Expansion Pass expands the Destiny adventure post-launch with the following 2 expansions, which will include brand new story missions, cooperative activities, and competitive multiplayer arenas, and a wealth of all new weapons, armour, and gear to earn. So you basically get expansion pack 1 and 2, which has got lots of stuff in it, yada yada.
Lots of stuff.
Lots of stuff. The Destiny Ghosts Edition will also include a ghost replica, featured motion activated lights, and voice recordings from award-winning actor Peter Dinklage, the voice of the ghost character. I hope that's not the voiceover guy. The player's personal companion in the game. A letter of introduction, wow, exciting, and Golden Age relics, which includes a photo patch, sticker, and 2 chrome slides of the Traveller.
Yeah. So, that's a lot of words. Let's take a break, breathe. That's
enough for now.
Let's take all of that in. So you get a lot of stuff.
You get a lot of stuff. If you want to know the exact stuff, go and have a look on the website, because I'm not talking my way through that. But it's a lot of stuff. But there's a bit of an issue with the price, isn't there, James?
There's a stupid issue with the price. It's stupid. So if we look at the logic of it, of collector's editions, limited editions, as we've always had them for years, they've come with every game you can think of. The Mass Effect had them, Call of Duty has them, freaking Bioshock has them. They're everywhere. It's become like a staple diet of the gaming industry, and we're going to be awkward. We're going to go to the Great British Pound, yes, and say, right, let's look at the collector's edition of the Xbox 360 edition, and where am I going with this? I'm going with, let's look at what collector's editions they were, how much they were then, how much they are now. So if I say Mass Effect 3, the collector's edition for that was $69.99. I remember this because I looked at my receipt that I do still have in the box. We go to the collector's edition of the next generation, the Xbox One, the PS4. How much have they gone up? They've gone up £30. They're now $94.99. What madness is this? It's exactly the same, other than the boxes change colours and.
It's a quarter of the price of the console.
It's a quarter of the price of the console. I like that point. That's not a point I did think of. So that's just for the limited edition. It's $94.99. Crazy price. I think I might still pay it, and this is where I think they've got us hook, line, and sinker. They know people will still pay it. You go to the Ghost Edition, which is basically your retail statue edition. You know, the ones like Gears of War came with a statue of Marcus Phoenix, and what else? Titanfall came with the big ass Titan, and there's been a ton of sort of. They normally come with statues. Well, this one you get a little toy. Basically, you get the ghost from the game. He's your little leader. He points you in the right direction. That's retailing at $149.99. I can't remember the Titanfall one, but I do remember Marcus Phoenix only went for £120. So they've added another £20 onto the next generation of collector's editions. Then we come to the point of, hey, America, we're looking at you. Your collector's editions are $149.99. Our collector's editions are $149.99.
What is that about?
Your digital editions are $94.99. Ours are $94.99.
Like, is it? How can it? I don't understand. When we're talking about digital things, which basically they're going to be making, I'm guessing, in the same place. So it doesn't matter where they're selling it. They must be selling it somewhere. How can it be so much more expensive? I don't think, as far as I'm aware, we don't tax ridiculously for games. In fact, if anything, haven't we given tax breaks for gaming companies in the UK? So tax-wise, shouldn't be an issue. I don't understand why we're having to pay more, effectively, than the rest of the world, or at least definitely America, because as far as I'm aware, the conversion rate still should be what? If they're paying $149, ours should be
about I don't do math.
I don't know the exact amount, but
we've established this on previous podcasts.
It's less than £100 anyway. If it's $149, yeah, it's a big difference. It's not like a few pounds, is it? It's a big difference.
Yeah. But I mean, then sort of going on to pricing again is, so you're looking at the collector's editions. The collector's editions come automatically, like the Halo 4 collector's edition did, with the DLC. You're getting the DLC essentially free, but you're still paying it at a premium price. The DLC is being listed as the pass itself as $34.99. So that still makes the collector's edition £60. I think logic. It's basically they've just thrown DLC onto it. But straight away there, season pass, right? $34.99. How big are these DLC packs going to be? You're paying a huge premium. You're paying essentially for another game.
It's very expensive, isn't it?
And it's two. I mean, that's only 2 expansions. We don't know how many expansion packs are going to come out.
It's getting expensive, this gaming malarkey, isn't it? Like,
Video games.
I know Destiny is like one of the big games of the year, and we're all excited for it. I'm really looking forward to playing it. I'm sure everybody is. We're hoping it's going to be amazing, and it does look awesome. But does that warrant them putting so much extra on the price for us to enjoy?
Well, again, I mean, my big point is how big are these DLCs going to be? You look at sort of Titanfall, the season pass for Titanfall for, is it 3 or 4 DLC packs? I think it's 3. It might be 4. That was only $19.99, and you're getting sort of 3, 6, 9, 12 new maps over a cycle. So how, $34.99? Are these DLCs going to be huge? Are they going to be tiny? And then the argument on top of that is, are they slicing bits from the game already before its release? Are Bungie going to be sort of scrutinized by EA for holding day one DLC behind the actual purchase of the game?
Well,
not cool. Hopefully everything's going to be unveiled soon enough, and we'll know, and everyone will be smiley, happy-faced, and I'll be like, yay, rainbow smile.
So basically, we've got this amazing game coming out. It's nearly out. We're nearly there. Beta's here. It's coming out in September. I think September the 9th off the top of my head.
Yes.
Something like that. So we're not far away at all. A couple of months. All really excited. Looks amazing. But we need to start saving now. Unless you want to pre-order and get in the beta. In which case, hopefully you've been saving beforehand.
Are you going to play the beta?
Hmm?
Are you going to play the beta?
If I can still get in when I get paid on the 20th, then yes.
Okay.
If I can still pre-order and get into the beta, then yeah, I will.
So
if not, I'll just wait.
Well, I mean, betas are those weird betas, aren't they? Because obviously, you look at sort of World of Warcraft previously. You look at sort of. I'm going on
WildStar.
The Blizzard games. WildStar, perfect.
Prime example.
The betas and things like that lasted forever and ever, and it was like they made it this huge exclusive. Oh my god, here's your beta. You're going to get in it. You're going to test the game, and then essentially everyone went, actually, this is the finished game. Why? What?
Elder Scrolls is a good one for that as well. Actually.
This is.
I know, actually,
What?
Take WildStar out of that because that wasn't like that.
Okay, I can go with that.
I've got
But I
something else to
mean,
say about WildStar in a minute.
we like other things. But just going on that beta front of it, it's like, is this going to be the finished game? And I think Bungie have come out and said, no, this is a true. So this is you will be testing the game. This is going to be our roadmap. This is what you find and give us feedback on. We will polish to the September 9th release, and there might be a patch on the September 9th release to sort of fix additional things that don't make it into the actual disc. Yeah. Boom. WildStar, hit me. What were we going to say?
What I was going to say is that one thing that has worked for me with WildStar is the fact I didn't play the beta. Because the beta didn't go particularly well for WildStar, from what I can hear. A lot of people were like, I'm not going to play it because I played the beta and it was a bit too, like, there was problems with it, wasn't there? There was a lot of people just having a lot of lag and lots of issues like that. But they resolved it all. By the time the game came out, it was awesome, and everyone went in and started playing it and were like, oh my god, this is amazing. Everyone played the beta were a bit like, what? It wasn't that amazing when I played it. Oh, I better go and have a look. And then they watched streams and went, oh my god, this is so much better, and then jumped in and started playing. So technically, playing the beta for WildStar wasn't necessarily a good thing. And I was one of those people that thought, you know what, I've had so many problems with MMOs and betas and not, not liking them in the end. I've just not bothered playing them. And then I went into WildStar fresh, not knowing much about it, and it's been quite a good experience. So it's the same. Now I kind of have this view of, do I want to get in early when a game's not quite ready, or do I just wait?
I know from. Sorry, just jumping in there, is I know from, obviously they did an alpha of beta. They did an alpha of beta. No, they didn't. They did alpha of Destiny that was exclusive to the PS4.
Yes.
And everybody jumped on it and was like, oh, let's give it a try, let's give it a whirl. And the comments have come back saying, sort of taking one internet personality, I won't name them, but one internet personality's sort of view was, right, this game had so much hype around it that I've played it, I've finished it, and I think it surpasses the hype that's been built up around it. So this is one of these that isn't going to lack on gameplay, it's not going to lack on mechanics, it's been polished already, it just needs the final sort of bit of wax, bit of buffing.
There's lots of people playing it to get rid of little bugs.
Yeah.
As long as they report it if you find. Report bugs, people. My little public order announcement for all game developers there. If you find a bug, report it. So yeah, that's Destiny. Exciting. That's probably our biggest news of the night, really. We don't say anything else than that, do we? That's it. We've done it.
That's Destiny. I mean, we're done.
We're done. That is our Destiny.
That's the podcast over. Done. Right, okay, really. Let's go home.
Something else that's kind of connected as well, because it's an old Bungie game. After 7 years, or 7 years after its release, Halo 3's final Easter egg has been found.
Cue dramatic music.
Oh, it's the angle one. I need one. Oh no. So, what do you have to do to find it, you might ask? Well, step 1 is wait until December the 25th. Yep, that's Christmas Day. You have a few months to wait before you can even find this Easter egg. Then explain to your family that you have to start up your Xbox on this day while they're eating their Christmas dinner or trying to watch Mary Poppins or something. No, stop watching Mary Poppins. I must turn my Xbox on now. And then click both thumbsticks down during the loading screen. That's what you do.
Easter egg complete.
And what do you get in this Easter egg treat? You might ask. Not a lot, really. I'm not really sure it was really worth announcing.
Yay!
I think it's more of a case of the guy that put it in there was fed up that after 7 years no one had found it, and he thought, right, I'm just going to tell you then because I'm bored, and you can wait 6 months to find it. It looks pretty, but I don't know what the point of it is. You'll be shown a wider view of the Halo ring, and if you look closely, and I mean really, really closely, you'll see the words "Happy Birthday, Lauren" spelled out on the ring's surface. Which I believe is his wife. He put the Easter egg in there for his wife, who I'm guessing has her birthday on Christmas Day.
I was expecting the game to blow up or something.
No. You could have had a dancing Master Chief or something with a birthday hat on. That would have been amazing. But no. But Bungie apparently has teased players with the final Easter eggs for years. Years. In a Q&A in a Bungie mail sack from 2012, John Cable said, "There is one Easter egg in Halo 3 that I don't think anyone has found. I stumbled across it in a code a while back. It only happens on a specific day. Good luck." I bet there's some bloke sitting at home now, or woman, sitting at home going, "Hang on a minute, I did play that on Christmas Day 4 years ago, and I'm sure I saw that Halo ring." Someone must have found it. Didn't realise, because it doesn't look much like an Easter egg.
There's nothing much there. I don't know, I mean, these Easter eggs are normally so stupidly hidden. I mean, just some of the Halo ones I can remember. Obviously, you go to Halo 2 and there was a special little area on the first Arbiter mission where you had to fly down in your Banshee and there was little grunts dancing around the skull, and that's where the grunt birthday party came from.
I love the grunt birthday party. I also like it when they blow up in like grenadey, starry things.
The little
with like fireworks. That's quite cool. I like blowing up grunts.
There was stupid. I mean, obviously, one of the big ones of just going back again is Halo 2 is the Scarab gun. The Scarab gun was like the ultimate weapon, but it was hidden on top of a building that you had to fly a Banshee through so many different hoops, and you had to push it through loading screens, and if you did it just wrong, the entire thing blew up and you had to start the process all over again. But once you got it, it was the most satisfying feeling because the things just melted. They literally just like, but not graphically.
I have to watch it on YouTube. I've watched it on most of these Easter eggs. I've watched on YouTube because I haven't got the time to sit there and do them. I really need to. I should do. When I'm going back through Halo, which I've already started doing from the very beginning to the end, I might have to. No, this is going to take me forever. I could go and do all the Easter eggs as I go, but then I just thought that's probably a stupid idea. I'll still be here in 3 years' time or something.
Easter eggs are the most amazing things in games.
But not just
once
games.
You find them.
You've got them on DVDs as well, which I didn't realise for ages. I had like the greatest hits of David Bowie. I love David Bowie. I know. And there were loads of Easter eggs on that DVD, and I found loads of always like hidden videos, and it was amazing. So I thought all my Christmases had come at once. But yeah, Easter eggs are cool.
I mean, when it comes
Google
to games, exactly.
Not
when it comes to games, some of them are just the warmest. You like some you don't even realise are Easter eggs. You found it. It's like, what the fuck is this? Oh shit! Sorry, Twitch. I swore again.
You swore again. There's 2 podcasts in a row. We're not on Twitch. It doesn't matter. YouTube doesn't care. Twitch doesn't care.
YouTube, police your stuff. Just in video games, you'll stumble upon them and it's like, oh my god, this is amazing. What is it? But then there's some that are just so obvious, and there's like little hints to previous games or games that fans have played. I think one of my personal favourites is in Fallout 3. There's an area you go into in Fallout 3, and there's a quote that's basically, it's a song from a band called Fear Factor. Fear Factor? No, Fear Factory. Boom. Silly James. And I found that and was like, oh my god, it's Replica. Oh.
OMG.
And it probably wasn't Replica. If I said, was it Replica? I think it was Replica.
Don't yourself now, James.
I'm gonna have to Google this.
Well,
but anyway.
While you're googling it, we might as well move on because there's not a lot else to talk about. It's just quite interesting that someone finally found it, or they told us about it. No, they didn't find. No, they just told us about it, didn't they? No one had found it, so they told us. They gave up on us looking for it. But yeah, finally, Easter egg. Go find it. Wait Christmas Day, and then go have a look. So moving on, the next thing is the future of the PS4 is to explore 3 key things. So the future of gaming, Sony's vision of the future of gaming.
Wait. 3 things?
3 things, just 3. I'm sure they're working on more than 3 things, but there's 3 key things that they're exploring. Their scientists and technicians are looking into.
Half-Life 3 confirmed?
Their 3 things that they think are important for the future of gaming are live stream technology, developing live stream technology, developing sensor technology, like wearable lifestyle and fitness devices, and exploring virtual reality through devices like Project Morpheus, which I think is not a bad way to go, really. If you're going to pick 3 things, those sound like 3 quite cool things. However, like I've said before, most of these console developers seem to be going quite gimmicky. They go with gimmicky things, don't they?
Oh yes.
None of those 3 things in particular, if you think about it, maybe virtual reality if it works out and we're lucky, but maybe not. Technically, none of those 3 things will necessarily make gaming any better.
Well, I think more or less. I mean, as you say, gimmicky. You look at the Wii, the original Wii. Oh my God, amazing concept. You wield your little ninja stick of doom around the screen and you make stuff happen. And everyone was like, oh, okay, this is kind of cool. And then Sony decided, oh, hey, making the PlayStation Move, look at this. It's like, did you just steal that? And then Microsoft went, oh, hey, look, it's Project, oh God, what was it called back then? Project Nadal, was it? No. It's now the Kinect. Look, I can wave my hands in a similar method to I can with the Wii, but you don't need a controller. It's like, motion controlling. Oh my God, what is this? And now look at it. Where are these movie controllers? They've gone.
Don't go with the console anymore. I think it does work for sports games though, like either group sports games or fitness games. Like,
can you imagine? Can you imagine doing sort of rugby or American football? Nice equivalent there. Putting a makeshift football or hand egg, whatever you want to call it, on the floor and kicking it at a screen. I think everybody's family would hate them after that because that would be a TV broken every 5 minutes.
But I think their wearable lifestyle and fitness devices is more about like doing gym stuff, you know, like going away from Sony a minute, but I know that Xbox are teaming up with Beachbody and doing like the Insanity and P90X stuff with their Kinect. So if you go down that route, that's kind of cool. If it can keep track of your body movements and your heart rate and stuff like that, that is an amazing idea. It's not a game, but in terms of, you know, fitness and how to develop that along with your game console, that's quite neat.
Well, there's been all these devices for the past couple of years. I mean, you look at another one for the Wii is the Wii. For some reason, some genius at Nintendo went, hey, let's equip it with a heart sensor. And somebody went, okay, let's do it. And so they had a heart sensor on the Wii. And then you look at sort of the rumours coming from Sony, Microsoft camp is both of them are toying with like devices you put on your hands to track sort of your natural body's electromagnetism and your heart rate, and it was just like, okay, this is getting a bit weird, but maybe it'll be acceptable in a couple of years' time. But there's gimmicky little devices like that coming out all the time, well, in testing all the time, trying to I think trying to bring the consoles into your living space and making it not just about games and
that's your
lifestyle, that's the word.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm guessing the much they invest in like exploring these things, that's how new things get developed, isn't it? That's how we invent things as a race, as a people, as a species. That's what I'm looking for. As a species,
as a collective, we are Borg.
Yeah, that's how we develop. So cool. Someone's got to do it. Yeah, power money into it. Fine. But on the sort of moving on from Sony and their onwards and upwards kind of attitude, going on to Xbox and their kind of please come back to us, save us kind of attitude. If you want to consider upgrading to Xbox One, Microsoft are offering select users $75 to switch. And if you go on to the page, where is it? Oh, hang on, you might have to do this because I've turned it off. How unprofessional!
Oh my god, turn stuff off. Okay, right, I'll do this.
Go.
Press the enter. Oh my god, I'm getting messages on my phone the second I press enter. That was a little weird.
Dum dum dum.
So let's have a look. So the big talk is apparently select users that are still on the Xbox 360. There's no official word on who it is yet, but some people are turning on their Xbox and magically this little promotion code will pop up saying, hello, person's name.
Blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm.
As always saying thank you, we're going to give you one of our very best customers an exclusive $75 Xbox promotional code with the purchase of any Xbox One. So basically they're giving you $75 off, or £75, hopefully, maybe, possibly, an Xbox One just for turning your Xbox on.
Wow, it's like a lucky dip.
More or less.
But I think it's limited, isn't it? It's in the US, Canada, and the UK. But
yes.
There's a caveat to it that you have to buy them by. I'm sure there's a date on there.
Oh, by
July?
October the 15th,
October
2014.
October the 15th, so a couple of months. So I wonder how many they're going to give out.
Oh, wait, hang on. You were right. I'm terrible at reading these things. It does say you need to have bought an Xbox One and activate it by July the 31st, and then you'll receive a $75 credit through your console.
What?
Wait. So let me get this right. So what they're basically saying is, hey, buy an Xbox One, and then we're going to give you credit for you to buy games. No, from the promotional offer, it sounds like, oh, hey, right, here's $75, go buy an Xbox One.
That's what it says, yeah.
It says it, but that's not what happens. Microsoft, I'm disappointed in you, son.
So you buy the console at the full price, and then we'll give you $75 as a refund. That's not really a refund, it's credit. Using your account to buy games with.
But then it's even worse, so you've got to redeem that voucher by October 15th, 2014. So you've got 3 months to redeem it, but then you've got to spend it within a year. So if you don't spend all the $75, if you're one of these guys like me that sits there with a ton of credit on the Xbox going, that looks like a terrible game, not going to buy it, oh, that's terrible, and you just keep your $75, in a year's time, it's gone. Poof. No longer yours. Promotional code, zip, gone. Just boom.
But they end up by going, but with $75 credit, you could buy any one of the many, many games coming to Xbox One this year, including first-party games like Sunset Overdrive or Halo, the Master Chief Collection, or multiple titles like Assassin's Creed Unity or Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. So if you've already got all of the Halo games, like we have, then, you could use your credit to rebuy the Halo games in the Master Chief Collection.
I'll think I'll pass on that. Thanks, Microsoft. I'll stick with my Xbox 360.
Yeah, it hasn't made me want to go and buy one. £75 on the console might have made me go and buy one. £75.
It's like one of those terrible. It's like one of those terrible Fox News adverts headlines. It entices you in, and then it slowly rips away your hopes and dreams.
superhero duck comes to the rescue. Oh my god, that sounds amazing. A duck today crossed the road. We got to the other side without being run over. Something stupid like that. I don't know. That was really random thing to say.
About to ring the men in white coats then, because I thought you'd gone crazy.
I'm already crazy. Yeah. Anyway, that's that one. So we're gonna have a bit of a break and then come back because we're gonna talk to the guys from the Board Games and Beer Podcast. So we'll get them in a minute, and then we'll be back for the outro. We're back, and welcome to the Epic Geeks podcast to Vel and Morgan from the Board Games and Beer Podcast. Hello,
hey,
Vel.
thanks for having us.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Thank you. Oh, we're doing good. How are you?
Yeah, no, wonderful. We've been talking about the very limited video gaming news that's been out this week. But apart from that, yeah, it's been going alright.
Kind of a lame week.
Yeah,
Yep.
lame week.
It certainly isn't in the board game aura, I'll tell you that.
That's why you're here, to kind of
Yeah.
enlighten us and the people listening that might not be board game fans to this amazing world. I mean, I've been giving you guys some shout outs over the last few podcasts for your podcast, Board Games and Beer, which, as I always say, is just two amazing topics that you can't not like, really. But board games in itself, there were some people that obviously, like yourselves, who are into it completely, love board games, and there were other people, like myself, who like them, but didn't really realise that there was this kind of whole world, this whole community of board gamers that are just as keen, as you like, as us video games, video gamers. And there are people obviously that like both of them. So we thought we'd kind of merge the two together, invite you on. You very kindly had me on your podcast a month or two ago.
Oh, that was great, by the way, too. We had a lot of fun with you. That was great.
Yeah.
We threw you under the bus a little bit, made you a beer expert, but...
I did my research, though. It was all right.
Yeah, you did very well, I have to say.
And we could do the same with you, because I haven't prepped you on any of the questions, so you're going to have to, be there.
Oh, well. It's all fair, I suppose.
So it's all about education today, and if the guys out there love board games anyway, then they're going to enjoy it, and they now know about your podcast if they didn't know about it already. So why don't we start off then, Vel first? Just give us a little bit of background about your gaming history, and also just tag along to the end why you decided to start the Board Games and Beer Podcast.
Okay, well, I'm really going to show my age here. I go way back into the probably mid-'70s when I first started getting into this stuff. So, I kind of started, I think, more like with Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that. But I have one of the original starter sets and a couple of those. I still have some of the old dice and everything from it. And I still have them in a dish out in my living room. So that I kept. I got a bunch of them stored in a storage bin, and I've been thinking, maybe do I have the other ones? But anyway, that's another story. So that's kind of where I got started in it, and a lot of my friends, we were into it too, and then more of them started coming out, and there was a company that started up in New York called SPI, Simulations Publications Incorporated, I believe what his name was, and they pumped out tons of stuff. And we opened up some game shops here that I used to frequent quite a bit, and I just got totally hooked on it. And a lot of my friends and we played them for a lot when I was, a kid growing up and everything. And then it somewhat kind of fell off, I would say, and in recent years. I kept a lot of my stuff. I've kind of gotten into, because a lot of them are collector items now, so it's kind of been a twofold thing. It's a collection. I like to collect them because most of those are out of print now. And most of them, unfortunately, I've only got a couple of friends of mine, obviously, who would play some of these games now, because some of them take 7 to 8 hours of game time straight to finish, and you're probably not going to find a lot of people who are going to do that. So I think that's kind of where mine is. I've always been into games, even when I was a little kid. It's just been a big draw of mine. And then, of course, at the same time, got into video games too. Because we had Pong, and I had an Intellivision, and we got this one game system when I was a kid that was a triangular shaped one. The cartridges were triangular shaped that sat on the top, and it came with this was the coolest thing ever. This was the first one, I think, that came in color. And it was a Pong game and it had a steering wheel with a racing thing on it, and that was really cool. But basically, all the cars did.
The cars. And
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, no.
When you crashed,
and-
yes.
Yes, but basically what they did, they bounced up and down on the screen.
Yeah.
And you just basically when you turn the wheel, it just moved your car, vertically up and down on the screen. But it was like the coolest thing in the world. So I mean, I got into that, and it's just been a kind of a two-mesh, sort of thing, all the way up there. And so I guess I started listening to podcasts a few years ago to kind of get to the second part of the question. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to do something, and I mean, I'm a big WoW player. So I do play a lot of video games too. So, but I felt like doing a WoW one, but there's just so many of them. I was like, yeah, God, the market seems saturated with those. I probably couldn't come up with anything original. And then just started thinking about, I really like board games. Maybe I could do something with that. Got to talking to a couple people, and then it just kind of took off from there. So, I mean, this thing's been brewing for about a year. But then I finally talked to a couple people and kind of got it rolling. And this guy in the guild that I'm in WoW was the one that really kind of pushed me over the edge and gave me kind of the idea what to do with it. And so I just kind of ran with it. And I basically, interestingly enough, I didn't really listen to any of the board game podcasts. I just did mine. I didn't care. I was like, well, maybe I've got something different, but I didn't listen to a lot of the other ones. So I just said, maybe I'm hopefully doing something different. So anyway, that's kind of my story. It's a little winded, but
For your own style, sometimes the best way, isn't it? Just do what you feel.
yes, exactly.
feels right.
So I figured it was better to do it that way instead of listening to some other people and try to emulate them. I may had some ideas that, and I had some ideas what I wanted to do with segments and stuff, and I was kind of writing them down, and then it was just kind of getting myself to go over the edge and just finally do it, which I finally did back in April. So, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. So
I remember
I just
talking
like the
to
little-
Oh, sorry, James, you go.
I'm gonna say I just like the little pun in there. It's been brewing for the past year.
yeah, exactly. I'm dropping them all the time, and I don't even realize it. I was even trying to do that. That's what's even better. I'm very good at putting my foot in my mouth. It's been taking years of practice. I'm a pro, so if you ever want to learn, I can give lessons. I'm very good at it.
Lovely. And what about you, Morgan? Where did you? Where's your gaming history? And why did you decide to get involved with the podcast with Vel?
So my gaming history starts back when I was a kid. Of course, you used to play Uno and things with my family. And then growing up, I read a whole bunch of sci-fi and fantasy. I was a huge Star Wars nerd. They started the re-releases when I was a kid. So that really kind of influenced me through all of it. So I kind of branched off into computer games first. The old X-Wing TIE Fighter PC games, Sega Genesis, Nintendo 64, and so on from there. Somewhere around 7th or 8th grade, I started playing Dungeons & Dragons with my friends.
See, it all starts there.
It totally all starts there. Since my gateway game actually for board gaming wasn't Settlers of Catan, it was actually Pandemic, which was actually brought on. We were looking for something different to do, and I had been playing WoW and some other things, and what it came down to is I had read Will Wheaton's blog. It was right about the time he was getting ready to launch Tabletop. Mm-hmm. And he has this great blog post about the funnest game he's ever lost, which happens to be Pandemic, which was about when I decided, okay, it's time to order this and see what it's all about. And from there, it's been a very, very sharp descent down that very slippery slope. And now I've got more board games than I really know what to do with. I've got a little bit of of what they would call acquisition disorder. So, about, I guess it was April, I finally gave in and started a board game blog. People had been bugging me to do it for a while. Hey, you're good at writing. You do this board game thing. Why aren't you writing about this board game thing? I don't know. So I did. I started If You Give a Geek a Game in April. And right about that time, my friends were getting ready to launch their board game on Kickstarter. And Vel interviewed them for the podcast. And somehow through some convoluted conversation, they ended up saying, hey, Vel, you need to interview Morgan. And from that interview, I then ended up as a substitute and now permanent co-host. So
It all came together.
Yeah, it was in the span of a day, actually, as I recall, because I think I asked her, I said, hey, would you like to fill in co-host? And she said yes, and then I think the very next day I just said, how would you like to be the co-host? So I didn't mess around. So
sounds familiar.
I mean, it does sound a little bit familiar.
It's funny how it happens that way, isn't it?
James, why don't you go with the next one?
Fine, right. Jumping on it because we've got a nice list. We're all prepared, you see. So, Kimberly here wants me to ask you, how do you feel about the next generation of iOS games that can integrate with sort of the board games? I mean, obviously we've got Hearthstone. There's some of these coming out that sort of virtual reality things where you can scan the cards with your phone and boom, you're playing it on your phone at the same time. Any feelings for it?
I don't know, Morgan, you want to go first, or do you want me to?
I've got this one if I can find the name of the project, because I started a project a while back, and I didn't end up backing it, for which I am now kicking myself, and I don't think I see it in here.
Is it Draken by any chance? Drakers?
No, it's Armello.
Oh, I don't know that.
Okay.
Which was an Australian Kickstarter, and I am now very sincerely kicking myself, but I didn't have a tablet at the time, didn't think I was going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hey, I can pledge with PayPal. But what it is a half digital, half not board game, where you have dice and things in real life, and you have playable heroes in the board game on like your tablet or your PC, and it's kind of steampunk Redwall, from what I can tell. So I am absolutely enchanted by it, and you get cards that you play to like upgrade your heroes and everything else, and that's done in game. So that one was really big as far as kind of seeing that first real integration, the first real step that has its foot in both worlds. And I know there's another one. There was one that I've been contacted about that it actually uses like an iPad in combination with like a Nerf gun as kind of a dexterity game.
Wow.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that one's definitely out there. And I've seen kind of 2 or 3 other things that are kind of half hybrids. Stuff that's backed for both a digital edition and a physical edition of like a deck builder at once. I've seen that. So right now I'm actually really excited. I love being able to take the board games that I love with me without having to actually drag boxes and bits and cubes and chips and everything else. So really, I think it's only a good thing, and I'm fantastically excited about it.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw a couple of episodes ago. We had a look at I think it's Draycass. I think it's how it's pronounced. The augmented reality trading card game. Have you seen that? It wasn't funded on Kickstarter. But the idea behind it was you used your webcam, and you had your trading cards, and you had like this board in front that the webcam kind of looked at, and you placed your card down, and when you placed it down, your webcam would be able to read it, and then the creature that you put down from the card would come to life on your screen.
Cool.
And carry out the spells that you told it to do and stuff. And I thought that was the most amazing thing I've seen for years. Because I know we spoke about it when I came on your podcast, that sometimes there's an issue with board games if you don't have anybody to play with, like near you. Whereas this kind of technology allows you to play a card game or a board game with anybody around the world. So it takes out that kind of limitation of having to have people with you. How do you think, Val, that will sort of help people come into the... Do you think it will enhance board games and bring people back to it, or do you think it might actually take away the fun of having that physical people?
Well, I think it might just depend on the situation, for certain people. I mean, if you're in a situation where you can't, then this gives an avenue, right, for people to do that. I guess I can stand on both sides of the fence with that, I suppose. Because to me, that's the appeal of the board game. As much as I love the video game aspect, there's just, you don't get the same thing. I like being able to, look at a board and manipulate little bits and move them around in the human interaction, the actual physical human interaction, you can't really beat that in some ways, in my opinion. But, having that other option, I'm totally fine with it. I think it just makes everything better. I know they even have some sites now where you can actually play actual board games with other people, right through the internet. And I don't know why a couple of them are just kind of eluding me, but for example, like Cards Against Humanity, and there's a bunch of things that are a little bit easier to do. You can actually play the real game, straight over through it. And a lot of the board games actually are gone into video game, have gone on to, tablets and the PC, and you can get a ton of stuff on Steam. Like for example, Ticket to Ride, the train game, is.
I've been playing a lot of that. Ross, if you're watching, he told me that he drove from London to Liverpool the other day in 4 hours or something. I was something stupid. I was like, you're playing for 4 hours? It's like real time, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. But you can play that one, and there's a lot of them that I'm aware of that you can do that with. Morgan, I don't know, like Small World, I believe, is that? I think there's a bunch of them that particularly a couple of companies have shoved it over into there, and it's just nice. I think maybe it gives people that fix, right? If they I really want to play that, but as Morgan pointed out, that's something I hadn't thought about, that you don't have to pack all your stuff with you, because sometimes, with some of these games, and I know Morgan could certainly agree with me here that there's a few of them. They're fun as heck to play, but sometimes they're like a 30-minute game, but you spend an hour just setting the game up. It's just like, why do we go through this? And they go, oh, it's fun. Yeah, but you spent twice as long just setting the game up and putting all the bits out, and now we're putting it all away. So it's almost games like that. I'm like, I think we ought to play it 2 or 3 times because it's too much work, to set all these things out. And yeah, but I don't know. I think it's a good thing, and I think Morgan's brought this to my attention. One of the ones that I've actually got my nose in. I don't think it's really a game, but they just started the Kickstarter, is that Start Player. And just to explain what that is, the big issue with a lot of these games that you buy now, they come with some mechanic like, okay, the first place, like the Transylvania Curses and Traders, for example, theirs is the last person that's read a book, saw a movie about a vampire, zombie, or a werewolf goes first. And some of the games don't put that in there. And I know in my group, and when I play with some people, we're like, well, who wants to go first? And so basically, this is this Kickstarter they started, is with dice and things like that, is they've got all these fun little mechanics to roll dice and draw cards and all this stuff to decide who's going to go first. Well, they actually have an app on the phone, on like iPhone and Android, I believe. And I have it that does the same thing. And there's 4 or 5 different little things. And the Start Player I like is you just hit that and it'll give you some statement, like it'll say, the person with the most facial hair, gets to go first, So it'll eliminate certain people out. Well, yeah, I think the females are going to be totally eliminated from that one. So you're safe to say that you're not going to go with that one.
Long if we don't.
Yeah. So, stuff like that I think is kind of cool. I like those. And I actually break that phone app out all the time. I'm going to thank Morgan for that because we've been using it a lot in my game group. Like, we're like, all right, who wants to go first? Oh, let me pull out my phone. Nice. And then I'm always doing it. And they're like, oh, hey, did you bring your phone with you so we could do it? And I'm like, oh, yeah, cool. And I'll go through it and I go, nah, I don't like that one. But it's got a bunch of other little things. Like it's got a little spinner on it. And you can put people's names in and it'll pick, stuff like that. So, the more that people get exposed to stuff. So maybe if somebody sees it, I see one advantage. If they see it on a video game or on a tablet, then maybe it inspires them to go out and actually buy the real board game.
And that's a brilliant roll into my next question, which is going to be, if someone does want to get into board games, someone who just doesn't know the right one to buy, maybe they've got a guild meetup coming or something, and they're thinking, this would be a great thing for us to do when we got everybody round. What would you recommend to be a starter game as a board gamer?
Oh, wow. Interestingly enough, I know Morgan and I have kind of discussed this. It's something I think we're kind of working on. I know we're kind of in the back. Is we're actually working. There's so much stuff out there, about board games, but there's a lot of like I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent here, but there's a lot of blogs and things like that will say, well, these are the 10 must games that you must have, in your board game collection. But I don't see a lot of them that say that these are the ones you want to start with. I mean, I think it would kind of depend, maybe what somebody's interested in, but there are some nice simple ones. I'll give you a couple that I think are good ones because they're not complicated, but I'm just saying I've played them with people that aren't really into this, because we get a lot of people who will come to our board game groups, and I know Morgan will say the same thing, and they'll say, well, what do you guys play, like Monopoly? And we're like, no, not really that, but if you played that, maybe. One of them I'm thinking, two of them I'm thinking of is, one of them is called Coup. It's, Morgan laughs, but I like that one. It takes about 5 minutes to play it, and it's just a simple little card game. It comes in a little box, very, very simple rules. Everybody gets 2 cards, and it's a bluffing game. So the idea is to try to outbluff the other people. So the cards, they can do certain things, but you can do the things that are on the cards even if you don't have them. And then it basically comes down to other people calling you out on it. And in the last person standing that doesn't at least has one card covered, it's not flipped over, wins the game. I think that's a good simple one that I'm just saying generally played it with a lot of people that are like, oh, that was really fun. That's cool. I like this stuff. So I think if you start them with something like that, the really short ones. The other one I'm thinking of is Downfall of Pompeii. Yeah, she laughs at that one, and I have a cool little thing with that one if anybody wants to do it. And it's from my guy in my board game group that came up with this idea. But basically the game, it's a little simple little board game. It's the city of Pompeii. You have a little 3D volcano, seriously, you set up on one corner of the map. And it's a very simple, about 30 minutes. It's very simple to explain to somebody. But it's got some neat play to it. So basically the first part of the game is you draw these cards and you place people in Pompeii. And then as you go through this deck of cards, it gets to a point where Vesuvius will erupt. And then the game changes. You quit putting people in the city and you start drawing these little tiles that have little symbols on them that go on the map. And then if the lava tile lands on the little people, it obviously kills them. So then the object of the game then turns into is that the people get to draw a lava tile and move people out of the city. And the person that gets the most out wins the game. And then you throw them in the volcano, which is really funny. And so these omen cards that pop up too, where you can just sacrifice somebody and go, oh, I get to take that guy and throw him in the volcano. But it turns into a great fun little game because it's interesting how the lava likes all the other people but stay away from yours. I just think that's quite funny how lava actually has a mile. But it is such a funny, goofy little mechanic. But I say, and I played that with a lot of people that aren't into board games, and that seems to hook them. I mean, everybody will be like, oh yeah, I love playing that one. So those are a couple I'm thinking of. And just to say, if you do get this game, and I highly recommend it. See, interesting enough, Morgan hasn't played this, but I know she'll throw some at me that I haven't. The little volcano is kind of it looks really cool, but it's kind of like a translucent plastic, so you can kind of see through it a little bit. I don't know if you're aware of what a tea light is, but they're the little lights. They got a little battery in them. They flicker like a little candle. You take one of those and put it inside the volcano. And it makes it glow and flicker, and it's just really cool. So you feel like, and if you're really into it, you can put a real candle in there and really burn the people when they go in there. But it's a one-time play only use. So those are a couple I'm thinking of. But like I said, Morgan and I are actually, interesting enough, trying to develop a list of good introductory starter games, and those are a couple I'm recommending right now. So, Morgan.
Okay, so for me, I'll throw 2 out as well. I'm still kind of picking my second one here, but the first one I'll throw out is Forbidden Desert. This one's going to be good if you've got a group of people who, for whatever reason, don't really want to.
Can we pause that for a second?
Yeah, we'll pause. Pausing for phone call.
Yeah.
Call from Triple Edward.
Yeah, hang on a second. Oh, come on. Sorry, you guys.
Call from Triple Edward.
Technology.
Yep. Hello? Mom, can you call me right back? All right, bye. I knew that was going to happen.
I think we should keep that in.
Oh, yeah, if you want to. That's really funny. As a good blooper. Yeah, Mom, can you call me right back? Yeah, sorry about that.
Don't worry.
I bet you that sounded really interesting. So, I have to start with Morgan all over again, but that's a cool game, by the way, anyway. Yeah, so go ahead.
Okay. So, okay, let me know when you're back to recording then.
There you go. It's recording, it's fine.
Oh, bless your heart.
She's going to leave that in there. That's for those guys making me ask all those hard questions about me.
Yeah.
I'm going to get them. See if you ever mess with me again.
Oh. All right. So for me, my first game I would recommend would definitely be Forbidden Desert. Plays 4. It's good for a group that you're trying to kind of suss out how they play games. It has a little bit of armchair quarterback potential, but the nice thing about it is it's a cooperative game. Mm-hmm. You're all working together to rebuild the airship to get out of this desert that you're stuck in. So if you have people that aren't competitive for whatever reason, or if you're, if you've got your raid team over at your house one night and you're trying to get them to work together better, this is a game to play. Plays in probably 30 minutes. There are a lot of times when the game wins. Simple, easy to learn. The turns aren't too complicated, and you've got a little guide that tells you exactly what you can and can't do on your turns. So the player aid makes it really easy to get up and going. The really neat thing is that the board is modular, and every game you play will be different because it gets laid out differently every time. So Forbidden Island's definitely the first one I'd recommend. And a second good gateway game.
Suspense music.
I'm trying to think and harken back to something. You know what? I'm going to say Small World. This one's good if you've got people who kind of know what board games are, or they have the post-traumatic stress disorder of I played Risk once, it was 5 hours, and I hated my friends afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And the nice thing, too, is it will do very well, again, if you're trying to transition a video gamer. It works very well for, like, a real-time strategy player, to try to get them over into the board game world. Small World is an area control game, so you have little chits that represent people that you're basically moving into areas and trying to conquer as many territories as you can on your turn. Plays anywhere from, I believe, 2 to 5, and again, has expansions, is a little bit modular in that you never know what races are going to come up when you play. So one game you might have wealthy elves, the next game you might have barbarian ratmen, and it's really fun, plays in about 45 minutes, and I'm actually going to go play it tonight. Except we're breaking out the big guns. There's an expansion for it called Realms, which lets you combine basic Small World with an expansion they have Underground, plus a big old modular board that gets set up as well. So we've got a plan for 5-player Realms tonight, which is going to be a lot of fun. Like I said, it may be a gateway.
There's actually a 6-player expansion for that too, so it goes up to 6 now. So.
Yep, it may be a gateway, but I still play it. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think you're right. There's probably the shorter games to start off with, just to get people into it.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Move on at the cooker.
Well, I mean, Jesus, I can remember just completely forget your monopolies and stuff like that. Dive right in at the deep end. Don't know if you guys played the Battlestar Galactica.
Mm-hmm. Bless your heart.
Stupidly complicated for somebody that's just jumping into it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that sounds like something a Cylon would say.
Yes, exactly. That's probably not a good one, but that's another co-op game. But yeah, that's got a lot of bits moving with it that people aren't used to it. But I mean, if you like I think with those gateway games too, I think the thinking with Morgan and I too is that we're probably genre or whatever kind of like, well, do you like this kind of game or whatever, and have multitudes, because there's a lot of different kinds of, I mean, are you into thematic games? Are you into what we call worker placement, where you place little units to get resources or something? Do you like those? Because there's good games for all of those kinds of things. Mm-hmm. I mean, that would fit in a sci-fi cooperative, kind of game, but it's much more complicated. So that would probably be one that's, down the road. Because I think that's, Morgan and I have talked about it. I think that's the worst thing to do, to get somebody that comes to these things and they're interested in it, and you want to scare them away, when you play some game with them and they're like, oh, my head's going to explode. There's too much going on here. What, can't it just be simple? Like, whatever, poker or whatever. Well, poker's complicated.
I was gonna say that.
Yeah, that's a pretty complicated game. Not a very good example, but,
Snap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you for that. I think that probably helped quite a lot of people. And you also have a Kickstarter project on your, or segment on your podcast, which we might have copied a little bit. What new games that are coming out on Kickstarter that have been funded that you've sort of featured on your show, do you think our listeners should listen out to in the coming months?
Yeah, I'd let Morgan go with that one. She's certainly the expert with us with that. I just follow what she wants to do, and then she gets me involved in them, and I just start buying them like crazy. So.
And then I spend his money.
Yeah, she loves to do that too.
All right, so stuff that is on Kickstarter now that might be very good for someone kind of looking to get into it. And I'm just going to pick two here. And these both have a couple of weeks left, so people can jump in on. I would say probably Tiny Epic Defenders, which is from Michael Coe and Gamelin Games. It's absolutely blown through stretch goals. You're going to get a huge amount of game for a small investment. It's the entry level for it, I believe, is $16 US and goes up to $24 for the deluxe edition. It's a micro game, which means it's going to come in a small box. It's going to be very easy to play and clean up. And the neat thing is, again, this one's cooperative, and everything I've heard about it, it absolutely kicks everybody's butt. So it's cooperative and it's a challenge. It won't just roll over. The other one on Kickstarter now that I would recommend is Yardmaster Express from Crash Games. Huge shout out to Patrick there. He is a phenomenal guy. He runs a phenomenal company. And Yardmaster Express is actually a takeoff of the original Yardmaster, which just funded last month. But it's, again, very quick, very easy. It's a drafting style game. So if you have people who are kind of adjacent who have played Magic the Gathering or something, it also works very well as a gateway game because they kind of understand the mechanic already. The neat thing about Express is that you can always get Patrick's other games from Crash Games through the Kickstarter as well. And the entry level there for if you've never pledged for any of his game would be $9. Stuff that has funded on Kickstarter and is starting to come out to stores now, I would say Oddball Aeronauts would be a good one to look out for, especially in your corner of the world, because the company is actually UK based, so you guys got fulfillment first for obvious reasons. Oddball Aeronauts is a 2-player dogfight, basically. It's a card-based aerial steampunk dogfight with adorable animals, actually. And then something else. Yeah. Oh, it's awesome. Their artist is phenomenal.
When you say dogfight, do you mean as in dogs fighting, or do you?
No, I mean like dogfight in the sense of airplanes. Yeah. No.
You can't see it because you can't see the webcam. No. But I was actually doing an airplane motion.
Exactly.
Then I suddenly realised that you might have actually been talking about dogs, but that's fine.
No literal dogs, just figurative dog fight. And then what else is coming out? Vel, have you got one that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm going to talk to the guy that designed it again on Monday, doing some follow-up with him. But Andrew Rader has got a card game coming out. It's supposed to be out any time now, called Evolve. And it's another kind of quick play, whatever. But basically what you do, it's kind of evolution kind of, but you get to build your own animals, but with the bits, you get to put a head, a midsection, and a tail on them. And according to him, he has 8,000 different combinations of animals, and then they try to survive, and I guess they can fight with each other and all this kind of stuff. So I mean, that's one of them I've been looking forward to that funded a while, not too long ago, and he's getting it out pretty quickly. So I mean, there's so much great stuff coming out there. The indie developer, market for some of this stuff. There's so many cool things out there, and they just kind of springboard. And I think it just all depends, like what you're interested in. And some people are just coming up with just some amazing things. I mean, there's. Yeah.
So Kickstarter has been good for that, hasn't it? Really, whether it's video games or board games, Kickstarter just seems to be excellent for indie developers, just to show people what they can do and let the people decide, so to speak.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's the thing. I think what's really good, it's letting some really good artistic talent kind of come to the forefront. And we've gotten a chance to speak to a lot of these people, and it's fascinating. But it's a very involved process. I mean, it's kind of I'm not saying that putting a video game together is any simpler, but there seems to be quite a bit more steps that are obviously involved in putting a board game together. Because getting artwork and graphic designers and shippers and all this kind of stuff, and then if you did these things and whatever, I mean, it's got another two-edged sword. And Morgan and I talk about this a lot. That some of them come up with some brilliant ideas with games, and then they want to get into expansions and adding all these extra bits, which is great. But I think Morgan and I are in some agreement that we would just like sometimes for them to get the game out. And I think what happens is a lot of them, sometimes it blows them away. They'll put a game up for, $5,000 US, and it'll fund for $150,000.
What do we do with the money?
Yeah, and then they're like, they start adding all these things, and I think that's the only frustration I'm seeing, with some of them, is that some of them are like, they go back and they try to rework a bunch of things. And then they're not getting the game out to the people. So I think that's the thing that they got to be careful of. I mean, I think Morgan would agree with me on that one. That's our frustration with it. Is it's like, give us the game, we paid for it, whatever. Don't add a bunch of extra things and complicate it. And they. Yeah, and then it gets delayed a year or a year and a half, and then you get people mad, and then you gotta wonder, like, you guys got a great idea here. But if you go and try to do something else, you just kind of shot yourself in the foot. You're probably not going to, because people are going to talk. How the internet works.
Yes. James.
Hello.
I think you should introduce our next topics. They won't be expecting this at all.
So,
I'm bracing myself.
Yeah, I'm sitting down. Don't worry. I'm ready. Should I seatbelt myself in?
Yes.
Well, as is notorious with both the video game world and sort of the board game world, we're kind of known for like the get-togethers, and you have your video game parties, you have your board game parties where everyone sort of chips in, and there's always food. That's what we're known for. There's always different types of food, and nom nom. That's what makes them amazing, other than the games. So we've come up with a couple which are a bit on the weird side, but we're going to throw them at you anyway.
A bit on the weird side, okay.
Going on to the food sort of side of the board game world, what's your favourite omelette filling?
Omelette filling? Oh my god.
Okay, I've got this.
I've got one.
I'm boring and I'm classic, though. Ham and cheese, just straight up.
Boom.
Can't go wrong with ham and cheese.
Hmm.
You're under pressure now.
I'm going to go with like bell peppers. I don't know, I'm more of a vegetable person. Green ones, red ones, yellow ones, orange ones. Yes, I don't know. Gonna go with some vegetables.
That's the first one. Then we've got, what's your favourite pizza topping?
Favorite pizza.
These questions.
Oh. Morgan's gone completely quiet, and so have I. It's like, we got him with that one, yes!
Time up.
Pizza toppings for me, and I swear if anybody takes this out of context, I will hunt them down. For me, it's got to be all of the meats. It's got to be meat lovers, pepperoni, hamburger, sausage, etc.
See why you put that condition in first. Comment.
Yeah, good. It's a good thing she did, because I probably would have said something. Well, she would have just got back with me, even with me anyway, so it's just not like I would win very long with that. I'm honestly not a big... I don't eat pizza that much anymore, but boy, I don't know. I've got to go with any kind of vegetable sorts of things, and a little more vegan, so I don't know. Mushrooms and peppers and things like that are always good, always work for me.
I'm on Team Morgan here. It's all about the meat pieces.
Yeah.
Boom.
I'm not saying that. It depends what it is. I mean, for me, if it is, it's got to be chicken or something. I don't know. I'm just not a big pepperoni and that kind of stuff. But, it's all good. It's whatever you like.
And then the final sort of follow-up to this weird set of questions, which I don't know where they came from.
No, it's not really that strange to me. So I'm just waiting. I'll tell you what's a weird could be,
What is your favorite kind of cupcake?
Favorite kind of cupcake?
Okay, I'm blessed enough to have a small cakes cupcakery in town here.
Oh, lucky you.
I know.
Manageable.
And so let me see here, because I know I'm going to misspeak.
It's gonna misspeak.
No, I've got to make sure of what's in it before because I'm down between with small cakes. It's either going to be the Boston cream pie or the Fat Elvis, which is banana cakes.
Hell is that?
It's awesome. It's banana cakes with actual fresh bananas in it, with peanut butter cream cheese icing and chocolate syrup.
Oh my god, that sounds amazing.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think you just made my decision right there for me, Morgan, because I'm not really... I love bananas, so I think I'm going to go with the same one. I'm not being very original there. I even had it, but I think that's the one. Anything with bananas, I would like. I love banana stuff.
I actually think they're amazing questions.
The Fat Elvis?
That's great.
I'm surprised it doesn't have bacon with it or something, because that's one of his things. He used to make these bacon...
Peanut butter, banana, and bacon.
Peanut butter, banana, and vanilla ice cream milkshakes was something that was a big thing of his. I could do without the bacon, but I know I'm shot for that.
I don't know. Bacon and cupcakes is really good. There was another place down here that it closed sadly, but they had a French toast breakfast cupcake, which was a maple cupcake with bacon pieces in it, and then maple syrup icing on it, and a candied piece of bacon in the top.
Ooh. Nom 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 nom.
Yeah, doesn't sound good to me, but it's whatever you like.
Amazing.
Yeah, I'm going to be... It's funny because the guild I'm in WoW, they're all bacon nuts, and I don't like it. And it's funny, I was at the Nerdtacular this past weekend sitting with this guy, and he was having... And I told him, I said, I don't like bacon. He goes, oh, you don't like what? He thought I was nuts. And he goes, well, as long as you don't tell me not to eat it. And I go, dude, you can have it all you want. I just said, I don't care for it. And they go, you're crazy. So I don't fit in there, so I'm just waiting to be hanged at some point. When I get enough of them around, I go, there's the guy that doesn't like bacon. Where's the tree?
Right. To bring it slightly back on topic, because I can see us getting an email or a phone call or something now, similar to the one that Scott Johnson got a while back, with the stick to the subject, damn it, that one.
Yes, that's awesome.
We have one of those guys.
Yeah, but then we got something to talk about.
Exactly.
You can deflect it to me. We'll deal with it.
Why we divert it. It's fine. See, makes people talk about things. So you have a segment at the end of your podcast about beer, because it is the Board Games and Beer Podcast. Mm-hmm. And you threw some questions at me, and I do seem to remember I had to do more than you did about what drinks or what beers went with what board games or games. Mm-hmm. So we thought we could do the same with you at the end of this interview, but just solely on video games.
Okay.
Okay.
We pick the video games, and you have to come up with the beer.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Me and James have got 3 each that we're going to throw at you. Are you ready?
Yep.
Off the hoof. So my first one is, and it's a generic, not a specific game, but Halo.
Okay. Halo. I haven't played it, but I know the game. Are we, Morgan and I, both coming up with our own, or are we just coming up with one between the two of us?
What do you think, James?
I like 2 because it gives the idea of choice, variety.
2.
Right.
1 each.
The illusion of choice. Got it.
Oh boy, that's a hard one because it's kind of something spacey. Is what I'm thinking of. A shooter.
Mm-hmm.
Aliens invading the world.
Exactly. Oh boy. You got anything,
What
Morgan?
beer am I going to drink at the end of the world? Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Well, as it is the end of the world, as it is a first-person shooter, I'm actually going to go with a Reaper. Oh,
For crying out loud.
Saved by the Bell.
There we go. Sorry about that. God, I never get any phone calls, and it's all of a sudden get a bunch of weird.
Go on,
All right.
You're nearly there.
I'm definitely going to have to go with the Reaper Mortality Ale.
Oh wow.
Nice. I'm playing Legendary mode.
I like it. Because it also makes me think of Mass Effect.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't know. I've got one here. I guess it's kind of what's going on in that game. I'm going to go with a game. It's called Surly Hell.
Oh, well done. well played.
I think it kind of works with that. I had to reach, but
Go on then, James.
So I'm going to go with a notorious game which has a notorious creator, but it's an awesome game. Fez.
Fez. Oh, God, I don't even think I know what that game is.
It's about a little dude with a fez hat on.
Little Fez hat? So guy with a Fez hat on.
So for those who don't know Fez, it's the little guy, and you can make the world 3D. It's basically you can rotate the world to solve the puzzles, and it was done by a guy called Phil Fish, or Phil Poisson as he's actually known, and he's a dick. Sorry, Internet, I said the word.
That's twice you've sworn. You swore twice in this podcast.
All right, I've got it perfectly then. Since my favorite Fez-wearing geek also homebrews, and he has a kit out for this, I'm allowed to actually call it on this one. I'm going to call it Will Wheaton's Vandal IPA Ale.
Well played.
Yes.
And since you're saying that the guy is a you-know-what, and Will's big saying is don't be a... You see?
Fits perfectly.
Well, then that makes my choice really easy just based off of that. I'm going to go with Arrogant Bastard Ale. Then. Oh, how is that? Since we're kind of going down that rabbit hole, might as well just bury myself deeper.
James, there's no way we're getting back on Twitch. No way.
I know.
That's it. Okay, my next one. This might be a bit easier. Sonic the Hedgehog.
Ooh.
Hedgehog, okay. Oh, right.
What beer would you drink when playing Sonic the Hedgehog?
So I personally wouldn't drink any beer because I love Sonic too much. I want to enjoy the
You
experience.
wouldn't want to drink too much beer playing Sonic the Hedgehog, would you? Face it.
I don't know.
I'm drinking beer right now, actually. I forgot. I don't actually know. I think it's
How can you forget you're drinking beer?
I can't remember where it comes from. I bought it from Lidl, so... I think it's used to European.
I think we need like the Jeopardy music playing. Do 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 do.
I'm going to find some. I'm going to put it in the background. I'm going to fill it in. We've stumped them with
Let's
this.
see here.
We have stumped them.
Well, no, for me, it's I've got to find something really good for this.
Yeah, I do too.
Because I'm being stubborn.
I've got kind of one I'm leaning towards, but it's reaching way beyond me. If it's like Donkey Kong or something, I had a great one. That one. Oh, boy, that's a... Ooh. See, we're not very good at this when we get thrown video games.
Oh, here, I've got it.
Exactly.
Now you know how hard it was for me.
I've got one for me.
Go on then,
And
Mary.
this one's reaching too, but there's a reason I'm calling it. There is a brewing company in my backyard in Kansas City called the Boulevard Brewing Company. And anyone around here will know exactly where I'm going with this. There is a beer that they release exactly once a year. And it is so incredibly hard to find that it goes before you can see it going. It's an incredibly see.
Clever.
So in the once a year, Boulevard releases one batch of a chocolate ale.
Ooh.
Yum.
Mm-hmm.
I could go with that.
And I think this is just appropriate because the way that I feel right now, I'm going to go with Blithering Idiot Ale. That's what I'm feeling. It is the name of a beer, believe it or not. So that's what I'm going to go with. Even though I played Sonic the Hedgehog, but I can't think of anything. I feel like a blithering idiot, so that's what I'm going with.
I think we should skip the next two, James, because it's probably the same as the first one. We'll just go with your last one.
Yeah. So the last one is a recent sort of appearance on the market. It's a bit NSA. Watch Dogs.
Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs.
Do you both know Watch Dogs?
No, but based off of that, I think I can probably come up with something.
Are you still playing? While they're thinking about it, are you still playing that, by the way, James?
I'm still playing it. I'm on the last segments. I'm on, well, kind of the last segment. I'm working my way through the side missions.
I've got a good one, but I don't know if it's good for your show or not. I don't know how clean it is.
Go for it. I think we've already gone past that point in this particular...
Which I don't have on this batch.
I've got, how about it smells like weed IPA?
That probably fits quite well. It does probably fit quite well.
I can go with that.
All right. So I'm going to go with... Yeah, I'm going to go with Firestone Brewing Company's Double Barrel Ale.
Okay. I can go with that as well.
Yeah.
I'll accept it.
It's been accepted by James. So, well done. Well done. You did very well, I think.
Yeah.
I think you actually did better than me.
I still think I got more tire marks all over me.
Yes, Morgan won, I think.
Yeah, she's much quicker at getting her answers out than I was. I was too slow.
So that's all we've got for you, really. That's all of our questions. We've come to an end. So why don't you tell everyone where they can find you on the interwebs and where can they listen to your podcast and stuff?
Okay. Well, for our podcast on the web, we're bgbpodcast.com. Our email address is Boardgames and Beer podcast@gmail.com. Also on Twitter at BGB podcast _game.
And Morgan, what about your blog?
All right, if you're looking for me on the internet, the blog is ifyougiveageekagame.com. Email address is the same, ifyougiveageekagame@gmail.com. And then to find me on Twitter, it is at giveageekagame.
Excellent. Thank you very, very much for coming on.
Oh, thank you for having us. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so hopefully I didn't bury myself in a hole too deep.
You didn't. And the phone calls just added to the suspense and the drama.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Of course.
Anything you want to add, James, before we stop?
I like eggs.
That was totally random. Now, see, that was random right there. You know, asking us about cupcakes and stuff wasn't weird, but you just saying that, yeah.
That was weird. That's it. Well,
no.
Thank you, one and all. We'll leave it there.
Okay.
Bye.
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 Thank you very much for listening to the Epic Geeks podcast episode number 15. We will be back in a couple of weeks' time. Hopefully it'll be all of us or three of us or someone will be here. And hopefully we'll be back on Twitch. You never know. Or we'll be back on some other kind of streaming network if they don't get us back. Yeah, or move. So a few shout outs. Thank you very much for Vel and Morgan for joining us today from the Board Games and Beer Podcast. And also a big thank you to the people that created our intro, namely Edward Bryant and Coltrane. You can find Edward Bryant on Twitter at Andoran _ and you can find Coltrane at @dcoltrane. If you don't know how to spell them, it'll be on the show notes. Just go and have a look at that. You can find us, Epic Geeks, at www.epicgeeks.co.uk, and you can email us any questions at epicgeekspodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter, epic_geeks. You can find me, Draycass, on Twitter at Draycass. You can find James.
Me at Jutai, JUHTAI. Boom.
And thank you very much for Techno Centurion for a little background music that you can hear now. That's it. We've been the Epic Geeks. Bye for now. Smiley face with a wink.